leave for 1 week. 1 week is all it took for me to not watch SmackDown and for John Cena to threaten and tease retirement. Why? I'm never not watching SmackDown again. Terrible things happen whenever I take time off, folks. I'm sorry. I take full impersonal accountability for John Cena potentially retiring soon. But yes, I'm back now from Las Vegas. I'm okay. Shout out to the editor for carrying the team for the last 7 days. You absolute beauty. Anyways, as you saw, John Cena has teased that he's gonna be retiring soon, and it's got me all kinds of emotional right now. As many of you know, John Cena is my favorite WWE superstar of all time. I've become known as the John Cena Glazer of all Glazers on the internet. And understandably so, because John Cena is my wrestling childhood. He, to me, is the GOAT. He is a superhero that can never be replicated ever again. So to even hear the words John Cena and retirement in the same sentence, it brings me a great deal of unironically, like genuine, true sadness. Because I wasn't expecting a proper retirement until I was in my early 40s so that I could go through a proper midlife crisis. But I just turned 30. I'm too fucking young for this shit. Anyway, so today we're going to be looking at some WWE superstars that I think would be the best dancing partner for John Cena's retirement match. And hey, as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications if you're a wrestling fan. I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. Dude, I was just gone for like an entire week in Las Vegas and we still uploaded every single day. What more proof do you need, baby? Just subscribe already. All right, so let's start this off with the one that probably makes the most sense, that being Randy Orton. Randy Orton is out and injured as of the making of this video, but it seems like he's going to be returning very, very soon, potentially colliding with John Cena before he leaves back to Hollywood. So I think the likelihood that this happens isn't zero, like it's very high in my opinion. And in terms of like a storyline and a poetic send-off, I don't think that there's somebody better than Randy Orton. It was Edge, but Edge is now Adam Copelanding over in AEW, which now leaves Randy Orton as John Cena's longest standing arch nemesis left in the WWE. Now, of course, these guys have been through it all together in their younger years in the Ruthless Aggression era in 2002, even earlier in Ohio Valley Wrestling into the 2000s, into the 2010s where they were both megastars. It would just be a perfect send-off for John Cena to be sent off by somebody that is legitimately like on his level and on his caliber in terms of potentially being in the conversation for greatest of all time. Now, I know a lot of people think that it should be some sort of younger talent to retire John Cena, but there's very, very few young talent in the WWE that can carry the burden of retiring a legend of the size and magnitude as John Cena. So you're actually not going to see too many youngsters on this list. You're mostly going to be seeing established veterans. And we have a precedent of established veterans retiring one another. Just look at Shawn Michaels retiring Ric Flair for the first time, because he would end up coming back like 17 times. But the first proper Ric Flair retirement, it wasn't by some young up and comer. It was by somebody who was also in the twilight of their career in Shawn Michaels. Because frankly, like I said, I just don't see very many of the youngsters being able to carry that burden, and I don't want to give it to them. So instead, rather than trying to make a superstar out of it, I think it's more important to have a proper send-off, and I think Randy Orton, out of everyone on this list, is the perfect person to do this. Just look at all their rivalries. Their careers are just so intertwined and parallel to one another. Again, this could have been Edge, but Edge is completely out of the picture here. If I had, like my perfect way here, I would have had a triple threat for some world title between Randy Orton, Edge, and John Cena, and had some sort of a la WrestleMania 28 end of an era match between all three of them. And we can still have that feeling of an end of an era between John Cena and Randy Orton. And dude, I would legitimately cry if they were ever to do a retirement storyline and modeled it after the end of an era story from WrestleMania 28 between Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker. It would just be, fuck. It would suck in the best types of ways. Next up, we have the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And again, Roman Reigns doesn't need the accolade of being the one that ended John Cena's career, because this wouldn't be about Roman Reigns. This would be about John Cena and giving him a proper dancing partner for his final match. And right now, it doesn't get bigger than Roman Reigns. Now, I know this wouldn't be the first time that they're facing, nor the second, but it's not about how many times they faced off against one another. It's about just what it would represent to have somebody like Roman Reigns, who again is in that discussion for the greatest of all time, to be the one to take the old horse out back, put him down, so that he himself can take the moniker of the greatest of all time. It would be a brutally sad storyline to see Roman Reigns be the one to finally end John Cena, but it'd be poetic, and frankly, it would just be perfect with what they've been doing with Roman Reigns to this point anyway. And again, I think it has to be someone huge to be the one to put John Cena down for good. And right now, like I said, it just doesn't get bigger than Roman Reigns. I'd still prefer it to be Randy Orton, but again, if we're trying to give John Cena the biggest possible match, the biggest possible stage to have his send-off, a send-off that is rightfully deserved, a send-off that should go down as the send-off of all send-offs, I can't think of a potentially better dance partner to add to the grandioseness of this effect, to add to the monumentality of the entire thing than Roman Reigns. But hey, if you want a youngster, look no further than Solo Sikoa, and I think that there's some good callbacks here that we can make to his uncle Umaga. Hey, I know a lot of people think that John Cena should have put over Umaga back then, and they talk as if John Cena was some sort of veteran holding people down back then. Meanwhile, John Cena was like the top megastar in the prime of his career. He's not there to put people over. He's there to be the face that runs the place, and Umaga was in his way. And I just think that the true repersonification of Umaga in Solo Sikoa could be the one to turn the time back and really give Umaga that victory. And I could totally see a reverse sequence of events with Solo Sikoa choking John Cena out with the very ring ropes that have made John Cena one of the most famous WWE superstars of all time. Again, you know I love poetic, you know I love poetry, and I think that'd be beautiful. While at the same time helping continue to put over Solo Sikoa as the monster of this company, the monster to be the top heel in the WWE for the next decade and a half. But again, my concern is, can Solo Sikoa handle the pressure of being the one that dethroned and retired John Cena? Like, that is a major weight on your shoulders. And I don't know what the answer would be to this. I just don't think that we've seen enough of Solo Sikoa to give a definitive answer as to whether or not he's capable of carrying the burden of being the one that finally put John Cena down. So personally, I don't love this, but I still think that there's some really cool things that they could do. Some really great callbacks to earlier matches in John Cena's career, like the match against Umaga. And again, it would do wonders in terms of helping put over Solo Sikoa. Let's put another youngster in here. Let's put Bron Breakker, who's already had run-ins with John Cena a couple of weeks ago over on NXT. Here's the thing. Unlike Solo Sikoa, I feel more confident in Bron Breakker's ability to handle the burden of being the one that finally put away John Cena. My only concern would be is that if he's the one that retires John Cena, I think that makes him a villain for life. Now, do we want to corner Bron Breakker into being a heel for the rest of his career? I wouldn't necessarily be against it, because we've seen him play both sides of the coin as a babyface and as a heel, and in my opinion, he has been a significantly better heel. But it would just be so earlier on in his career to be pigeonholing him to the guy that put down the Make-A-Wish King in John Cena, and I think that'd be a difficult burden to put on him, and being so earlier on in his career. But he just has the swagger, he has the legitimacy about him, he has the legacy to be the one to do this to John Cena, and I don't hate it. They planted some seeds there. I'm just saying that the seeds are there, they're germinating and sprouting, and maybe it will eventually lead to John Cena versus Bron Breakker. I don't hate this. You know, if we don't end up having Bron Breakker versus John Cena in like that retirement match, I could still see this match happening in some way, shape, or form, and maybe that's the match that sends John Cena back to Hollywood for another year, right? So we're not putting the full burden of a proper retirement on Bron Breakker, but we're still putting the burden on him and giving him the John Cena rub because he's just so powerful that he got rid of him and is no longer in the WWE, at least again until he decides to come back. But yeah, I don't hate this. I think it's not a bad idea. How many traditional heels has John Cena beaten in his career? Seriously, start to list them off because the list is genuinely endless. So how about having his career end to a true bell-to-bell heel? That being Gunther, the Ring General, a type of wrestler, a type of heel that John Cena has made his career in beating. So it'd be kind of appropriate if it was one of the, like the super version of that type of heel in Gunther, who really that's what he is, to finally be that brick wall that John Cena can't conquer regardless of how much he doesn't give up. Hey, look, everybody wanted Rusev to be the one to put down John Cena. Maybe this is your second attempt at that foreign heel to be the one to put down John Cena. Plus, I think that somebody like Gunther, somebody who is on his way to cementing himself and legitimizing himself as a top contender heel, not just for a short run, but for the rest of his career, a victory over John Cena would be absolutely massive. And it would sure as shit, in my opinion, feel a whole lot more cohesive in terms of narrative and plot and storyline. Like if we can get it there, then something like Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle was in terms of a retirement match. Because again, John Cena versus this type of character, this type of heel, this type of wrestler is something that just makes a tremendous amount of sense. Plus, it'd be cool if John Cena could get a dancing partner that could get him to a 4.5, 5-star match for his last match of his career. It'd be beautiful. And we know that Gunther just puts on banger after banger after banger. Dude, this guy can have a 10-star match with a sack of sand at this point. Now, the question is, would you want to see this for the Intercontinental Championship? Seeing John Cena try and go after one of the few prizes that he hasn't been able to win? Because I kind of would. Okay, so the next two are on this list basically for the exact same reason. I have LA Knight and I have Cody Rhodes. Really, both of these guys are on this list because they are the ones that are positioned to take over the mantle of the biggest babyface in the entire business. Right now, LA Knight is catapulting his way to the top. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes has been comfortably there without really anybody really contesting for that spot up until the current rise and growth of LA Knight. So what better way to cement either one of these two as the next top babyface in the WWE for the next half a decade than to having them be the one to put down the biggest babyface in the WWE of the last 20 years. In terms of burden carrying, Cody Rhodes has it. Honestly, it would feel like Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. That's to me that level of grandioseness that Cody Rhodes versus John Cena would feel like. I would be concerned for LA Knight having to carry the burden of being the one that put down John Cena. However, narratively, we're closer to John Cena versus LA Knight than we've ever been to John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Personally, I think we should have already had John Cena versus LA Knight. They should have had a #1 contenders match, and the winner of that goes on to face Roman Reigns, but instead they really just jumped the buck and just gave the #1 contendership to LA Knight. I just think that had LA Knight managed to garner a win over somebody that he respects, somebody that is considered the greatest of all time in John Cena, I feel like he would have been a more legitimate contender going into this championship match versus Roman Reigns. But I still think this could happen, and this would be a giant WrestleMania match. But hell, so would this. So I take your pick, but again, I have them on here for the exact same reason. It's to solidify and justify who the next giant babyface of the WWE would be. And last but not least, the most legitimate contender to be the one to finally retire the greatest of all time, the best to ever lace the sneakers, the best to ever do it, the greatest WWE champion of all time would be undoubtedly Akira Tozawa. Because Akira Tozawa has been on a journey of self-rediscovery, a journey of self-betterment, so much so that he has hired the greatest coach in existence in Coach Chad Gable. Right now, Akira Tozawa is in his anime training arc, and if anybody has ever watched the likes of Dragon Ball Z, My Hero Academia, One Piece, he is going to come out stronger than ever before. In my opinion, Akira Tozawa may come out of this training regimen as Ultra Instinct Akira Tozawa, a character that is undoubtedly the most powerful WWE superstar in existence. Not only do I think that he could be the one to retire John Cena, I think a fully trained up Akira Tozawa could be the one to steal Mommy from Dominic Mysterio. He could be the one to end Gunther's reign. He could be the one to end the legendary reign of Roman Reigns. He could be the one to take out the Judgment Day finally, so that they don't interrupt people in the middle of promos. I'm telling you, Akira Tozawa is one to look out for, especially if he does reach Ultra Instinct form. I don't think that John Cena has a chance, and I don't think John Cena could see him. Anyways, I'm done. All right, get out of here.